bring a sword to a gunfight.
Americans, prevail.
Jazz emerged right after World War I.
Well, now that the war's over, I feel like playing some new music.
There were many talented artists in the jazz age. A few of them are Dizzy Gillespie, Duke Ellington, and Louis Armstrong.
I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed days, dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Dizzy Gillespie was born on October 21st, 1917. He learned to play the piano at the age of 4. By age 12, he taught himself how to play the trombone as well as the trumpet. Dizzy Gillespie is best known for his development of bebop and modern jazz. Bebop was known as the first modern jazz style. However, it was unpopular in the beginning and was not viewed as positively as swing music was. Throughout his life, he strived to popularize bebop by playing at gigs, creating a band with himself as a symbol of the new type of music, and creating a movie about bebop called Jivin' in Bebop. In 1967, the artist put himself forward as a presidential candidate. He promised that if he were elected, the White House would be renamed the Blues House, and a cabinet composed of Duke Ellington, Secretary of State, Miles Davis, Director of the CIA, Ray Charles, Librarian of Congress, Louis Armstrong, Secretary of Agriculture, and Malcolm X, Attorney General.
Edward Kennedy Ellington was born on April 29, 1899. By the age of 7, Ellington was already taking piano lessons. At the age of 15, he was working as a soda jerk at the Poodle Dog Cafe, where he wrote his first composition, Soda Fountain Rag. Ellington created Soda Fountain Rag by ear because he had not yet learned to read and write music. Duke Ellington became one of the most influential artists in the history of recorded music and is recognized as one of the greatest figures in the history of jazz. His career spanned 5 decades and included leading his orchestra, scoring for movies, and world tours. Ellington called his music American music rather than jazz, and liked to describe those who impressed him as beyond category. These included many of the musicians who were members of his orchestra, some of whom are considered among the best in jazz in their own right. But it was Ellington who melded them into one of the most well-known jazz orchestral units in the history of jazz.
Louis Armstrong was born on August 4, 1901, into a very poor family in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was a grandson of slaves. He spent his youth in poverty in a rough neighborhood of uptown New Orleans known as Back of Town. At age 8, he attended the Fisk School for Boys, where he likely had his first exposure to music. After dropping out of the Fisk School at age 11, Armstrong joined a quartet of boys that sang in the streets for money. At age 20, he started to be featured in extended trumpet solos, one of the first jazzmen to do this, injecting his own personality and style into his solo turns. In his early years, Armstrong was best known for his virtuosity with the cornet and trumpet. He often essentially recomposed pop tunes he played, making them more interesting. The genius of his creative passages is because of his playing technique, owned by constant practice. In these records, he almost single-handedly created the role of jazz soloist, taking what was essentially a collective folk music and turning it into an art form. As his music progressed and popularity grew, his singing also became very important. Armstrong was not the first to record scat singing, but he was very skilled at it and helped popularize it. Armstrong died just after a heart attack on July 6, 1971. Shortly before his death, he stated, "I had a beautiful life. I didn't wish for anything that I couldn't get, and I got pretty much nearly everything I wanted because I worked for it."
Although you may not see it as often as in the 1920s, jazz is still popular in today's society. There are several different places where jazz can still be heard. A few of them are popular games such as Guitar Hero, the streets of New Orleans, and in elevator scenes in romantic comedies.
Guess I should go, huh? Good night. Ready to do. Yes, it isn't that long a stay. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Only a cabaret, old chum. So come to the